Welcome to the episode of Modern Block. Thank you for joining me today. So, Superhero Sunday just finished, and it gives us a little bit of a taste of the year to come. Both teams, all four teams actually, both games were quite a try-fest for sure. A lot of just showcasing attacking play, really what the South African rugby is trying to move forward to. But obviously combinations of what led to the World Cup win last year. The crowd definitely had a lot of spirit from that World Cup win. It's amazing what something like that can do for the country's rugby, and I love to see that. Overall, it was outstanding attendance. Nearly 50,000 people came. I was one of the lucky attendees. I will have a video out with just a day out, but I just want to cover the games today in this video. Obviously start out with just the structure and the whole spirit and the vibe. It was really beautiful to see all of the fans of all the different teams come together and enjoy just quality local rugby. In my opinion, this year's friendlies were definitely filled with a lot more energy. You can see that it's not this fixture was essential for Super Rugby preparations, as it is the earliest Super Rugby's ever started, and I think that is definitely showcased here. Some shaky starts in the season already for some of the teams. The Sharks losing to Pika. Already had the Stormers having a little bit of a shake against the Kings. The Bulls didn't have a great game against Tucks. So this was very important to maybe just blood some players. We have 3 new coaches. One coach has only had one season really. So a lot of inexperience in the coaching staff, which I think they're trying to utilize this games to iron out any question marks. And also some really good moments from some Springboks, some new players, and I was very excited. I was actually quite impressed by the play. Let's start with the Sharks game, the Sharks Stormers game. The Stormers take the win here just by a converted penalty, a converted conversion here, just showcasing how tight this game was, and it was really nail-biting, swapping leads. Both teams going out at it. On the Shark side, their Springbok wings flew for them. Pimpy scoring 2 tries and Corsi scoring 1, and it just showcases why they're Springboks. Some cross the field tries from Pimpy, and Corsi also just really showcasing how strong he is on that run. It's something that he's become almost a testament in the kind of style he plays. Do not give him a millimeter on that wing. He will take you down. And that was great to see. They're still on form, and they're going to be so essential for the Sharks going into this Super Rugby. Overall, I did feel the Sharks were a little shakier on defense. 1 or 2 real big lapses. And credit to Herschel Yankees for noticing the one on the try line that really just their whole defensive structure fell apart. They ran ahead, and he was just he walked into the try line effectively. So something that they definitely have to look at. On the Stormers side, I think overall their defensive structures were a lot more solid. You can see that the team is quite consistent to their last year's team, and you can see it in the way that they play together. One criticism of the big man, himself, Siaklisi. I don't know. He didn't have the game. He had a couple of moments where he obviously they got the win, I get it, but there were about 3 times in the game where he selfishly tried to go for the try line instead of passing to wide open players. I'm not saying that he had a great game otherwise. Really on the right place at the right time, was strong in the attack when he had to be, but he definitely I felt he had a little bit of white line fever, something he needs to look at, because it can really affect the Stormers season if he continues that. So maybe it was just the friendly, it doesn't matter. He was just trying to get into it, and credit to him for that, I guess. But they should look out for that. You definitely don't want something like the World Cup win last year to almost overshadow your actual style of play, as I feel he is normally a very, very he puts players in space. He's strong. His strength normally holds off a couple of defenders and he can pop off, and he just didn't get the balls away this last fixture. So yes, I think overall it was definitely a promising game for both the Stormers and the Sharks. Some shaky moments there, so defensively, but and I think the Stormers that deserve to win it. But as I said, tight game. It was effectively down to kicking. Cohen Bosch's tactical kicking definitely let down the team a little bit for sure. His tactical kicks, there was a couple of directly out kicks, a couple of kicks that were just way too long, or he just didn't have them placed where he needed to. So that's something you have to look at, but definitely on fire when he was going forward. Some beautiful breaks, some shaky moments, but overall a nice game and a very, very, it's just good to see some players ignore some of the they've got to win. It's more just about playing rugby, and it was good to see. Going on to the Lions and Bulls game. what a seesaw and a try fest. I mean, a 35 scoreline showcases that. Down to the wire, the crowd was on their feet the entire time. What a game. From the Lions side, I think that the defensive structures were on point. They had a lot of, especially in the first half, it was, I think, dominated by the Lions. They were pulling forward. Elton Yankees had a cracker of a game. Another Yankees just showcasing it. He was really, really strong tactically kicking and also governing the defensive side and also on some clever attacking moments. From the Lions side, I think that they just fell apart the second half. You could see that their depth in the subs and that when they brought a lot of the subs hurt them, whereas the Bulls are definitely helped. The Bulls, I think they're really missing up front, except for the scrum was strong from the Bulls and they dominated, but the lead from Lut Jager and players like Agnes Neyman and them really helped last year actually give them the ability to just use their forwards to play in the open field, and they couldn't do that. They haven't really got the locks and the flanks really playing yet with it. Josh Strauss obviously joining, and that was interesting to see, but I don't think he brought enough yet, but it's early days. So I think maybe that'll gel and it'll be stronger, but at the moment it was a little bit of a gap. On the Lions side, on the Lions side, they had a lot more of their forwards were definitely bringing into the game more, and that was good to see. And attacking, they were definitely sharper for large parts of the game. The Bulls did take advantage of a couple of good breaks. It's sad to see Warwick Galan go down. We'll have to review. We'll have to see what the news is on that. So far, it sounds okay, so he should be fine. But yes, it was very sad to see that. That brought on Moni Lebok at fullback. I think he was going to replace Morne Steyn earlier in the game, but now he's playing fullback. So Morne Steyn, I did think of a little more game time. Kicking wasn't great from him, although, and I felt he started to kick a little bit too much, going back to his old days at the Bulls. Maybe he just put on the jersey and remembered how to do it. So I would love to see him just remove that a little bit from the game plan, as this wasn't the game to do that. Maybe he was just trying to fluid it in. Obviously, the Bulls are trying out their game plans. So fair enough, and it did work out. He did most of the time win the kicking battles, so that's fair, but a little bit too much for my taste. Overall, I think probably the best rankings. Cornel Hendricks had some really strong moments, strong runs at that center position, something I think I'd love to see him play a little bit more at. It was very, very powerful there. Roscoe Speckman from the Bulls side really couldn't get in as much as, for example, Cornel Suskan. What a stunning cross kick from Elton Yankees to put him into place there. As I said, cracker of a game from Yankees. Tactically, wow, very good and a nice sign for them. Overall, though, I think the biggest takeaways from this game is the Bulls' defensive structures were all over the place. They really couldn't get them in places, I think, but they could capitalize on moments, and open play counterattack was their friend for sure. On the Lions side, it was a lot more tactical, and you could see that they definitely got the precisions down, so they're going to be a force in the Super Rugby tournament. Overall, I think lapses, a lot of team changes, definitely affected their biggest benefit being that they were very structured. As the changes came in, they lost a bit of their structure, and the Bulls could counter-attack better, and that's, I think, what swung the game their way. But something that I think the Bulls won't have that advantage of most other games, as the teams won't be swapping as much. So they're going to have to work on their structure. A large part of the Bulls team has left, so that is sad. So we'll see how it plays into it. Other players that I just want to give a shout out to in this game, Skuman, wow, the guy is everywhere. He is everywhere. He reminds me a lot of Kwagane style play and is just a force to be reckoned with. Somebody to watch for this tournament for sure. On the Bulls side, as I said, I really enjoy Cornel Hendricks at that center position. I'd love to see more of him. More than able to show. Josh Strauss really didn't showcase a lot, so we'll have to see. But the Bulls scrum, definitely the front three are a force, and I think that's going to be nice to see going forward in the Super Rugby. But yes, overall, as a rugby fan, a South African rugby fan, this was a nice mouth-watering, a little bit of a taste to Super Rugby, and I will be bringing out some videos just covering how I think these teams will go into it. So just look out for that. But yes, guys, what did you think of the Superhero Sunday? Is it something that should continue? Is it a nice way to just warm up the teams, bring the spectacle back, bring the crowds, and just get everybody amped for it? I think it's great. Let me know in the comments down below your opinion, and let's get chatting, guys. Can't wait for 2020's rugby. Let's do it.